Hello and welcome to this episode of the Horse with No Name podcast. This is our fourth installment of our Senior Day series. In addition to the articles on lbcchargers.com, we've also been putting together these podcasts and videos so everyone can see our seniors as well as hear from them as well if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. So my name is Zach Freeman. I'm joined as always by Bob McMichael. And we again want to thank our sponsor, The Grill, for continuing to sponsor us throughout these times. And again, like our previous podcast, we don't want it to be too depressing. We are going to talk about COVID-19 and the end of this season early, but at the same time, we're also going to celebrate our seniors. And though they can't walk across the Donald H. Funk Field in late April, we want to showcase them here this evening and talk a little bit about them, their season, the past couple of years, and hear from them as well as Coach Cheri Horst. So, Bob, how are you this evening?
I'm great, Zach. I feel like I haven't talked to you in forever.
Yeah, just a little while.
I know. We had a chance to talk to a whole lot of other teams the last 24 hours, and I'm not going to release all these all in one shot, but we're recording them all together, sort of. So yeah, it's been good. So yeah, hey, so this weekend is Easter. Got any big plans with your boys for Easter?
I don't know. Hopefully watch church Sunday morning. I know there's sort of a Good Friday service. I try to watch that on Friday night too. But yeah, I do a little bit of that. I think we're going to go to my in-laws. We kind of know what they've been doing the whole time, so we're not scared to go over there. I think we're going to have some lunch with them. And apparently they painted eggs today. I missed that. They kind of shipped them over there for the day so my wife and I could do some work. So I hear they painted eggs, and we're going to try to find them from what I understand. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
Will you be involved in hunting the eggs as well?
I think my in-laws would appreciate if we found them all, if they're real eggs, so that we don't find them in June. With the smell more than the actual finding of them. But whatever, we've been hunting plastic ones for the past couple of weeks as I guess practice for Sunday. So
there you go.
We're looking forward to it. It should be fun. So they're pretty into it. I'm pretty sure Jack found his Easter present today at my in-laws. So I'm not sure if he took it or not, to be honest with you. But Eli's birthday is coming up in about a week too. So we're kind of putting it all together, I think. So we're looking forward to it.
Man, both your guys are getting so big. But anyway, hey, so we're here tonight. We're talking lacrosse, and we want to introduce you to, there are 6 seniors on the women's lacrosse team. And the first one that I will introduce is Meghan Eichelberger. This is her first year playing with the lacrosse team. She's the daughter of Brian and Pamela Eichelberger. And we are just thrilled to have Meghan with us here tonight.
Yeah, that's right. Meghan didn't get a chance to play last year, got hurt during fall ball, did come back and play this year and overcame that injury and had a good first 4 games for the Chargers as a defender. And we said this about a couple of our student athletes yesterday. Bob, you and I appreciate Meghan more for her student worker prowess than her lacrosse ability, though we're not shortchanging the lacrosse ability. She was a great student worker, always at the gate, very helpful, did a little concessions, I think, too. So I want to shout out her for being a great student worker the past couple of years for us as well. It's nice to know when you don't have to worry about certain things that your student workers can handle, and she was able to handle all those jobs for us. So I'm appreciative of that, as well as her ability to overcome that injury and get on the field. I know Coach Horst mentioned it in the article that she was kind of her eyes and ears on the sidelines last year, and also learned the game a little bit more, and then put that to good use here in the first 4 games this year for LBC.
Yeah, Zach. And, the other thing that is really commendable about Meghan is I guess they had a change in some resident assistants, and second semester here, she picked up and became an RA. And so we're just real thankful for the way Meghan gives of herself and everything. Meghan, talk about lacrosse. Why did you decide to get involved with the sport?
So I was transferring into LBC 2 years ago, and I was looking at my previous college, played basketball and soccer, but I had played lacrosse in high school, and I knew LBC had that, and I was really interested in just the coach and the team. And so I met with Coach Horst, and Cam was actually there that day too, and I got to meet them on my visit. And I'm good friends with Courtney Goyak too, who's a previous student, and she really highly recommended being a part of the team in the program. And so I was able to meet them and just decided that it would be a really good way to grow athletically, but also spiritually, and a good team to get involved in. So then I came in the fall of 2019 and have really enjoyed 2018, and I've really enjoyed being part of that team.
So as you think about your time with the lacrosse team, any good memories stand out to you from your time with the team so far?
I have a lot of my memories around LBC are around the lacrosse team. So probably the biggest one is from this past retreat with the lacrosse team. And we just had a really good time together at Coach's house. And we were able to do this. It was like we all went into separate rooms and split up into groups. And we had to make up this dance routine to any song. And then we came back together and we had it like it was recorded and there was music, and it was very funny, but also like a lot of people were outside their comfort zone and you could see the personalities coming out. And that was like a really cool moment. Just seeing different personalities on the team and being together for that. So,
you know, Zach, I think that's one of the things we truly heard from all the teams. Like, not only are they athletes, but they became family with one another. And I love hearing stories like Meghan was just sharing there. So
Absolutely. I think the stories we've heard, apparently the baseball team jumps into ponds wherever they go. So, we're whatever.
Yep. Our second senior that we're going to recognize is Cheyenne Saber. And Cheyenne is the daughter of John and Yvonne. And this is Cheyenne's third year playing with the team. Has had a great opportunity to just continue to improve and get better on the field, making some goals, and had some early goals this season already.
Yeah, absolutely. Came in first 2 years, had 1 goal and had 2 the first game of the season this year. So it's always nice to double your career total in the first game of the season. Like Coach Horst said in the article there on the website, really kind of found her way into a starting position this year and was making the most of it already through 4 games. And it shows the determination both on the field and off the field to get better, not only as a player, but as a person. I think that comes through when Coach Horst talks about her, and like all of the seniors here for sure. But yeah, pretty impressive to see a player go from kind of a side role to a starting role and kind of take that and run with it early here in the season.
You know, Cheyenne, what's it been like to see that role develop and have more opportunity to be one of the ladies on the team that's going to make an impact?
It's been really fun to grow in my athletic ability and just me as a person, and that comes from talking to Coach and all of my teammates. It really starts in the fall when I put in a lot of off-season work to getting better with lacrosse and just like strength-wise as well. But yeah, it's been fun to go from on the sides, and just like growing in my confidence has been great for me.
And as you think about your time with the team and everything, any great memories that stand out to you, 1 or 2 experiences or a game that you're like, wow, that was pretty cool?
Yeah, like Meghan said, I have lots of memories with the team, but I think just like spending time together, and I think this year we really grew in like being committed to one another and committed to our relationships and like pursuing each other outside of the field too. But yeah, I think also we've played in all sorts of weather, and that's been a fun experience because college lacrosse falls in January until May. So we get to see the snow and the sleet, and then also beautiful days. So that's fun.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I've experienced a couple of those snow games where it's just been snowing way too much. But then there's been, like you said, get into April and May, and there's some gorgeous days to be out on the field. So that's pretty cool. Our third senior is Emily Morgan, and Emily is the daughter of Mike and Deb Morgan. And Emily has just been learning the game and really making major contributions to the team, and definitely was doing so this year. As Zach, you and I had talked about, some of the leading scorers were disappearing, graduated last year. Mm-hmm. We were wondering where scoring was going to come from, and it's been great to see ladies like Emily picking up and making goals happen.
Absolutely. She had 6 goals in each of her first 2 seasons, and already had 4 through 4 games this year. So well on the way to surpassing that. And absolutely, we talked to Coach Horst prior to the season and kind of asked about the offense, and Emily was a name that she brought up very quickly. And 3 goals that first game against Delaware Valley. And again, you kind of saw how that was going to progress throughout the year. And I think that's certainly when, the season's canceled, you can think about a lot of things, but eventually you trickle down to not being able to see Emily kind of flourish as an offensive player with a couple other players as well there on the offensive side. So, yeah, absolutely. But again, someone who came from another sport, kind of overcame an injury, and then put forth her best effort to become the best lacrosse player she could be. And I think that's one of the things we're going to miss out on this year is seeing what that potential actually was, though we did see it the first 4 games for sure.
So Emily, you were playing women's basketball, and now you became a pretty great lacrosse player. What's that transition been like, going from a sport that you really know to picking one up and becoming a pretty important role in the team?
Yeah, it has been quite the experience. I say I had to humble myself in order to get where I have been able to get through all of this. It definitely was hard leaving a sport that I've grown up playing. I mean, I had started playing basketball when I was like 4 years old. So to just decide my sophomore year of college, oh, I'm going to try something new, it was definitely outside of my comfort zone. But I think it was a good push, and it put me next to all these great people. And under the leadership of Coach Horst, who really shaped my life, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. As I've been asking the other ladies on the team, what's one of the games that stands out to you, or what's a good memory for you from your time playing lacrosse the last 3 years?
So my favorite memory, I would have to say, would be from last season. We went and played at Notre Dame of Maryland, and our Hope knows what's coming next.
You're just gonna bring this up right now.
So our goalie, I don't even remember what had happened, but I guess she had to step out for some reason of the goalie box. And I guess Coach was planning on putting Hope in, but Hope, didn't understand that she needed to be, geared up and ready to go in goal. So she just, immediately dropped her stick on the field and walked into the goal with, no padding or anything. And we were all just, dying laughing, trying to get Hope to come out of the goal.
Oh, those are good times. There's no doubt about that. So.
I don't even know what I was thinking. I just left my regular stick on the turf.
She threw that stick on the ground. Threw it.
Well, since we're already there, let's go to Hope. Hope is one of our 3 4-year players for women's lacrosse. She's the daughter of Peter and Grace. Yes, not only is she a field player, but when it's been called on to, she has gone into the goal. And we even saw that happen at home once this year, Zach.
Yeah, no. So I definitely, it comes to when you start talking about Hope, you start talking about apparently doing anything to help the team, and getting into the goal very quickly apparently is a skill. So yeah, no, I think again, a 4-year player who again had offensive talent immediately, and could pass, could shoot, could score, and lots of her offensive abilities on display. And again, just hard-nosed, hard worker, and didn't want to come out, and just wanted to lay it all out on the field. And I'll always remember that Hope was one of the people who always used to say thank you to us, Bob, after games and stuff. And okay, no problem. If you can make my hands warmer, that'd be great. But thanks for saying thanks. So it was very, obviously just a very a nice person, but you wouldn't know that if you were playing against her, because she just wanted to win and wanted to help the team any way she could. And I'll miss watching her play for sure.
So Hope, as you think about being that versatile person, willing to do whatever it takes, how did you get to that part of lacrosse that you're like, okay, if coach wants me to play goalie, I'll play goalie. If I'm going to play attack, I'm going to play attack. What's it like to just fill in wherever you're specifically needed?
I think I overthink a lot. And so when coach is like, well, you're in goal, I don't really have time to panic or anything. I'm just like, okay, here we go. So I think that's been helpful with it. But also I think looking at people like Meghan and Cameron who have injuries or struggling, and you would never know this while they're playing, but I know that they're in pain the whole time. And you look at them and you look at how they're willing to lay it all out on the field. And, God blessed me with health pretty much the entire time I played. So if they're giving their all, I sure as heck better be giving my all. So.
Yeah. Is there a particular position that you enjoyed playing more than others?
I don't know. Last year I got on when Cam got injured and went out. I was on defense, which we were all a little scared for the amount of cards I was about to get, but it was actually really fun. So I did like that. I like all the positions.
And
yeah, it's not my favorite.
And Coach, you're laughing there a little too hard, I think. What does she know about you and cards that the rest of us don't know, huh? That's a good thing. That just shows you're really committed to the team and wanting to do whatever it takes to win. Thinking about memories, what's a game or two that stand out to you, or a memory that stands out to you?
Since Emily threw me under the bus, here we go. Morrisville State last year. This is good though. Morrisville State last year, they were like the best team in the conference. Cameron and Reagan were injured. We were down a player. We had a bunch of people out. And that was one of the times where I just saw our team like bond together and like, okay, this is not the cards we wanted to be dealt. Here we are. So we gave it our all. And Coach, you know what the score was at like the first 5 minutes? What was the
3-0?
Yeah. So like we were able to come out 11 players, not one of the best ranked teams, and, put up a fight with them. But one of the hardest shots in our conference went at Emily's head full force, and I got to see that. And she literally, the ball was coming right here, and Em's head just went like this, and the ball kept going. Not on goal, nothing, no call. But Emily's face was like completely terrified, and we just looked at each other like, like a helicopter almost came and picked your body off of this field. Like, it was very intense, but I'll never forget Emily's face. Because she likes to act tough, but she was terrified.
I really saw my life flash before my eyes.
Oh man, those are some good times for sure. Our next four-year senior that I'll introduce is Sarah Vega. Sarah is the daughter of David and Carol, and Sarah has just given it her all. She's been on the team the last couple years as well. Not only is she on the team, but she also leads us in worship in chapel many times as well. So that's also a really cool thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Another four-year player who has greatly improved through the 4 years. 5 goals last year, 3 more assists this year, and again, just kind of turned into an offensive player that the team could count on for shots at certain times. Kind of could run the offense through occasionally and work the ball around. And again, able to get some goals last year and dish out some assists this year. I'll always remember her being very helpful in singing the national anthem for us. It was nice to be able to count on someone who can sing and not just because our play button never works on the thing for iTunes. So it's nice when someone can actually be there to sing it. I don't have to worry about it. And she knew the words. That was comforting too. There's some people we have sing when they come in and I get nervous that it's not written on their hand and I get nervous. So I was never nervous with her, and great set of pipes too. So that was always nice for everyone else to hear her sing too. So, yes, I'll definitely remember Sarah for definitely improving so much on the lacrosse field and helping us out as well before games.
Sarah, what's it like when you think about the player that you were as a freshman and the player that you were this year? What are the changes that you personally see in yourself?
Yeah, wow. There's honestly so many. A lot of us who started when I started, like that was our first experience with lacrosse. Like it wasn't a rare thing for you to be like, oh, this is like my first season playing lacrosse as a college athlete. Like, so a lot of us, and I think we talk about this a lot of the times, but especially now, like when we see like new people coming in, it's so crazy to think like that was us. And like, I don't even think you realize the changes, like moment to moment. Like I don't, like I still feel a lot of times like the same. So just seeing that and being able to recognize like these are areas that I've grown and like acknowledge that, it can be hard to see, but then like looking over all of it, I see like it is really crazy like how much we've grown, and I'm really grateful just for that. I think just not only like physically and as an athlete, but like spiritually, emotionally, and like with our relationships with each other, it's just been really cool to see over the last 4 years.
You know, as you think about your time playing too, is there a game or two that stand out to you, or a favorite memory from the team?
Well, as far as game, like I know we already said about this, but I think the Morrisville game last year was just like it was just a really crazy, cool experience for all of us. Like Hope had said, we were down players. My hand was like totally broken. Like I had everything like wrapped. And just being able to see like a player down, not having a couple of our starters, and dealing with a lot of injuries, and still being able to like come together as a team in ways that we hadn't been able to do even like when we were all there. So I think it was just coach put forth a challenge and we just stepped up at that point. And I think that was really cool to see. Another just favorite experience in general was just going to Zambia with the team. That was such an amazing just trip and experience, and being able to, it was really crazy. Like we didn't really have a schedule or anything, which is like super stressful at times because we didn't know what was going on or what was going to be happening. But just the way that the Lord worked in me individually, but also in us as a team and in the people that we got to work with, the kids that we got to interact with, that was just really cool for me. And that really helped me in my faith at that point. So that was really cool.
Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad that the team had the opportunity to go over there, and they even took 2 guys along with you. It was nice that you guys made them do whatever you guys needed. So that was pretty cool. Our final 4-year senior, and our final senior is Nina Statuti. She's the daughter of Joe and Carolyn. And Nina, not only does she play lacrosse, but she was also on the field hockey team. Also played with her sister a number of years as well. And man, she just continues to give it her all whenever she's doing, whenever she's on the field. So we're really thankful for Nina on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. 2-sport athlete these past couple years, and growing in both sports for sure. I know she had a good amount of success offensively for field hockey this past fall, and helping the team to their first couple of wins in program history. And Cheri liked so much what she did offensively that she put her on defense for lacrosse. So good move there. It just shows her flexibility, able to play different sides of the field. There's some similarities, obviously, between field hockey and lacrosse, but Nina's been around the game enough that she can see the field and can help the team in any way possible. I think that's something I'll think of with Nina for both field hockey and lacrosse, is just willing to help the team, goes about it very quietly, but you know that the effort's there, and she's into it every single time. And I think you can talk to Coach Elliott at field hockey or Coach Horst, and she's a good teammate and helpful. So definitely something we'll think about for Nina.
Nina, what's it like being a 2-sport athlete at the college level?
I think being a 2-sport athlete was a really neat opportunity because I love the connections I got to make on both of my teams, which is not something that everybody gets to experience. Just being on the field hockey team, which was a really small team, was cool because we all grew so close during our season. And then it was kind of a weird transition because both years, as soon as field hockey was over, I transitioned right to lacrosse and starting that up in the fall, and I'm just getting ready for our spring season. But it was still cool to have my field hockey team as part of they were still my teammates. Even as I was in my lacrosse season, I still got to connect to them and have friendships with them that were already made. And then getting to come back to lacrosse and play with my lacrosse team every year was just a really neat opportunity. And I'm really glad that LBC got field hockey when it did. I just wish they would have had it every year. But I definitely am thankful that I decided to play both sports all my years, because playing sports at LBC was my favorite thing about being at LBC, and just the coaches and the teammates and the environment just makes it such a neat experience.
Yeah, that's really cool. As you think about your lacrosse experience, do you have a game or two that stand out to you in your 4 years, or a memory from the team?
Specifically when I think about games, I always remember the game. This was a while ago already, but I think we were all there. A few years ago when Reagan got really upset and she threw a chair on the sideline just because it was just didn't seem like her, and it was just really funny. But over the years, I just always enjoyed traveling with the team. I felt like we made a lot of memories when we were traveling, and on the bus, the really small bus that we didn't fit on, or in the vans, or wherever we were in New York, and there was just ice everywhere and something crazy always happened. But I just felt like we made our best memories together and had so much fun. We traveled and really took the time during those opportunities to get to know each other. And then, like Sarah said, I also went on the trip to Zambia, and that was such a neat opportunity. And I'm really glad our team got to do that because it was a cool bonding experience that most teams and college athletes don't necessarily get to have. And that was something I'm really thankful for during my time as an LBC athlete.
You know, Zach, as I think about the lacrosse team, I saw a lot of hardworking ladies. They definitely were committed to this and putting in the time in the off season and everything. So it's kind of hard to realize like it all got cut short this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the things that's come through with these podcasts and talking to the seniors. And, I think we're around the gym almost every day when we're allowed to be. And just to see all these athletes in the spring, they have to wait so long to start their seasons, but their actual seasons, but they're all working hard when we can't see them, whether it be fall ball, whether it be in the morning before it's light or the lights are on after you leave and things like that. I just think that the credit needs to go to all these seniors and all these teams, and lacrosse included, just for the hard work that they put in. And having coached lacrosse a decade ago, you can't get better at lacrosse unless you play lacrosse. There's no book to read or video to watch, or you have to have a stick in your hand. You have to shoot. You have to pass. You have to catch. And it's time consuming. It really is. And the fact that the 6 ladies we're talking to, how much better they got in their time here at LBC, that shows you the time and the dedication that they put in. And then that's just the lacrosse. You hear everyone's mentioning trips and stories and games, and that's the biggest part of playing a Division III sport. And I think we've heard that through these podcasts, just how important the trips are, how important the coaches' meetings are, how important the one-on-ones are. The back of the bus conversations, the after practice conversations. Coach, can you stay 5 more minutes? Yeah, sure. And I just think there's a lot of that goes unseen. Anybody can read a box score after a game. That's not what we're doing here. That's great if it works out, and even if it doesn't, whatever. But it's the hey, can I come talk to you real quick, or knock on the door or whatever. And I know Coach Horst is great at that, and that's why we love her so much on our staff, because she takes those calls and those knocks from everybody, let alone the lacrosse team. So it's good to hear. And again, I would just mention the immense hard work it takes to improve as a lacrosse player, just because you need to put that time in.
Coach, obviously you're very proud of these young ladies that are with us here tonight, and you're proud of your entire team. I think your team was back on campus by that point when the decision was finally made. And obviously you were tracking that whole week of spring break to know, we're not sure that this is even going to take place anymore. What was it like to pull everyone together and say, yeah, we've played our last game? What was that like as an experience as a coach, and how'd the girls handle all that?
The experience as a coach was terrible. The girls handled it amazing, and I was very proud of them. I did track it the whole week, but didn't really think the reality was going to come that quickly. I think I hadn't prepared myself for it. And literally, we were coming onto campus. I think we found out about 3:15, and our practice started at 4. So there wasn't a lot of preparation time. So I told all the girls, I said I probably would have handled it a lot differently had I had time to think about it, but maybe it's good I didn't have time to think about it. They can all probably vouch for the fact that I could not look any of them in the eye. As I was talking, I definitely looked more towards freshmen who I knew were coming back. And we just decided, you know what, we're going to still practice today and make it our last practice and make it a great one. So I was just really proud of them. They just had a lot of fun on the last day. And thank heavens we took a picture. So
yeah, for sure. I don't think we understood back in early March just how serious this truly was going to get. And the decision then just seemed like so unrealistic. And I know, like, here in the state of Pennsylvania, high school sports just all got canceled today. And like, those are those seniors are now going through exactly what all you ladies have experienced. And how do you move on from that? And any of you can answer this if you want. What's it like to get such crushing news when you're like, you know what, I really wanted to give it, this is my last season and we're going to make it the best and we're going to continue to improve? Because Zach and I, we get to watch a lot of games, and we've watched you guys get better every year and really desire to do just hit the playoffs and get to that point. But then all of a sudden it's gone. How do you move on from something like that? Any thoughts on that?
I think a big part of it is just being proud of what we did get to accomplish as a team. So, so thankful for Coach and the platform LBC gave to share the gospel openly to the other teams. This year specifically, some of the captains made the decision to, usually like we all pray with the teams after games, win or lose, but this year we decided to actually share the gospel before the prayer. And I don't know how the other teams received it, but I remember Cameron's, and I think Meghan too, specifically like sharing the gospel and just being so proud of them, and just thankful that our team got to be a witness and hopefully a light to them. So I don't know if that answers your question, but.
Oh, it does. Does anybody else have any thoughts? Like, what was it like hearing that news that day? I think it was probably a Thursday in March, and just saying, "Oh my goodness, what just took place here?"
So, I would say definitely not like a punch to the gut. I didn't really know how to respond at first. I just kind of sat in my locker trying to process it, and I think it took me a lot longer than I even thought it would to fully process what that meant. And I think it's important for yourself and others to realize that it is a process that you have to cope with, and like it's okay if you're upset about it, because that's not really an emotion that I like to have, is like being upset over things, like you're an athlete, toughen up and just move on. But you definitely have to give yourself time to grieve it, because it is a loss. But looking forward, I've definitely been filling my time with working out, even if it's YouTube videos, but trying to fill the time that I was spending doing that with other, exercise and things that I enjoy. So
good. Any of you other ladies have a thought or two yet?
Yeah, I can kind of go off of Emily. I agree that it was kind of just like a slap in the face when we heard the news of like, wow, I worked so hard and now it's all over. And yeah, it does take time to process, but I think through like the processing, I've realized that like every college athlete was experiencing the same thing as me, like, and every senior was feeling the same way as me. So that really helped me in like processing it and realizing that my emotions are okay and I'm allowed to grieve this sport. So.
For sure. We've watched you guys grow together, and lacrosse has become a really tight team. And even not only have you grown together, but your numbers have grown too. What do you think the cause is of, like, what's making your team grow together so quickly, like the way it did this year?
I think one of the reasons that our team grows together so quickly is just that we are we could describe us as like a welcoming group. We're all just friendly and we all love lacrosse, and we all obviously just have the same love for the sport, but also the same love for the gospel, and just, even like Hope said, sharing that with others. And we go on the field to play lacrosse, but we go on the field ultimately to bring glory to God through what we're doing. And it's just a really neat platform that we have. And I just think us learning through Coach Horst over the years, and just learning and growing from other teammates and just each other, has just been a really neat opportunity. And even bringing new girls in and having the new team every year, it's never been a bad experience. It's always gotten better, and it's like every year we have such a good group of girls, and it's just really neat to get to work alongside each other and grow closer together and just do that together for the cause that we're doing it for.
Cheri, I don't think the amount of wins do the program justice over the past couple of years. I think you are hitting on things and teaching things in early February that you were hoping to get to in late April, like when you first started. I think that the technical side of the game is something the team has really grasped, and you are doing different things offensively, doing different things defensively. How has the program evolved over the past couple of years, and how big of a part of that are these 6 seniors?
I think you hit it right there. I mean, Sarah mentioned how 4 years ago when they started, a lot of them either hadn't played or hadn't played in a while. But this group of 6, now I know Cheyenne and Emily and Meghan came on like the next year or the year after, but they were part of that willingness to learn and willingness to commit and willingness to try. And that's how we've been able to grow that. And by their willingness to work off season and to work hard in fall ball and be committed allows us to be doing things earlier and earlier. And every year my assistants, we make a comment like, wow, we're working on this already. And we were doing something the first day this year that we weren't working on in April 4 years ago. So that's exciting. It makes it fun to coach.
Absolutely. And I think going off of that, and Cheri, I'll let you answer first. And if anyone else wants to pop in, that'd be great. These 6 in front of us here are very team-oriented players, whether it's overcoming injury, willing to try new positions very quickly, apparently, or simply getting better any way they could, or, like Sarah said, take my wrist up, I'm going back out, or whatever it may be. What do you attribute that attitude to? What is that? Because that's not necessarily something you can teach. That's got to be something that's innate in you. But you seem to have found all the ladies who want to do that. Where does that come from?
It truly comes from them. I mean, I'll say it a little bit. I mean, obviously, I pray a lot about our team, for our team, and that God does bring the right people in. That it's not we want to make sure we're bringing in people that are like-minded and teammate-minded, and every one of these girls would do anything for one of their teammates, and that really is how the youngers learn it. Each time, every year that we process this through, they're teaching the freshmen, the sophomores, teaching them what that looks like. What does it look like to be willing to lay it out for my teammate? And we talk a lot about that too. It really just comes down to all of them first are Christ-oriented. It really comes down to that. And that attitude then goes onto the field. It's not, I'm a lacrosse player and then I live for Christ. It's, I'm Christ-oriented first. He is my focus. And from that, I can now be a teammate.
That's awesome. Any of the seniors here want to reach into that a little bit?
I think just to add, there's a general sense of respect. Like, I really respect Coach Horst and my teammates because I see the work that they all put into it, and I see the time and the effort that Coach Horst puts into us. And so that makes me want to reciprocate in any way that I can, and I think other people would agree with that too.
Definitely.
I would say another thing kind of going off of that, just as I've been reflecting on everything and like on our record as a team, just thinking like it takes a lot of vulnerability from each of us. If it is a new sport or we haven't played in a while or we're struggling with injuries and, you're like not winning every game, it takes vulnerability to keep going out and giving your best, even if you're not getting the results that you had hoped for, or even if you're not physically at the point where you want to be. And I think like for me, realizing like, yeah, it's really hard. Like it's hard to just like walk on a field and play a sport that you've never played, but also it's helpful knowing like so many of my teammates are going through the same thing and they're being vulnerable for my sake. So then it just challenges me and motivates me to be vulnerable and to really just challenge myself for their sake, kind of like what Hope and Emily were both saying, but just playing for each other and then ultimately playing for Christ, realizing that our identity isn't in the game and isn't in our record. It's in Christ first and foremost. And I think that's why we have been able to build relationships with each other and why it's been so important to us to sharing the gospel, just realizing that Christ is our identity ultimately and not our sport. So
I would actually like also, sorry, Bob, I was just thinking, even when we talk about the record too, something that I always remind the girls, when I make the schedule, I don't make it that we have an easy ride. I make it challenging because I know that's how they're going to get better. And I appreciate their attitudes with that also, because they know they've got to work when we go out there, and it might not be an easy thing, but they're always willing to look at it and go, okay, how can we get better? How can we be stronger in the next game? And I think that's what made this season hard, because with these girls, I didn't get to finish that with them. And I think that is like, okay, well, we got this far. We were really growing. We were really learning. We were coming back from spring break ready, and we didn't get to finish the story. And I think that as a coach is the most challenging.
Yeah, they sure don't write how to not finish a season coaching 101 book, do they?
Yeah.
And I'll say too, for Cheri, sorry, Bob, to interrupt just a little, NEAC women's lacrosse is actually one of the women's sports that the NEAC's very good at. We can have a different podcast and discuss the top and bottom of some other sports in the conference, not on this one. But women's lacrosse is actually a sport that the NEAC is quite good in. We talked about baseball last night a little bit. There's really no bottom for lacrosse, just like in baseball. We talked about it a little bit last night. You get no breaks on the NEAC women's lacrosse. There are some other breaks and some other schedules, if I'm allowed to say, and there are none for women's lacrosse. So Coach Horst makes that schedule, the non-conference schedule, difficult because there's no sense in being 8-0 and then finishing 8-9 because you're not ready to play in conference. So the idea is that they're ready to play in conference. So like Coach Horst just said, there was some rounding into shape prior to spring break. Maybe not the first game or two, but you could sense that it was coming around. And those last 4 non-conference games were going to be challenging, but you could kind of see where there was going to be a win or two or another turning of the corner, or we're adding more things in because when we go play Abington, we're going to be ready to beat Abington or, a team from New York, things like that. So that's more of the, I don't know if disappointment's the word, but just I don't know, just that's the frustrating part where all of that hard work that we talked about in the fall and December and January, where no one's watching you and it's dark in the morning and it's freezing in the morning and things like that, that's when that hard work pays off, is the beginning of April and things like that. So that's the frustrating part. And I have every thought and sense in the world that even though these 6 seniors won't be there to see it, that the juniors and sophomores and freshmen are already thinking about that for next year. So that's exciting. And I guess, Bob, if you don't mind, I'll ask one more question, and you can hop back in. And Cheri, maybe you can lead off, but then the seniors can hop in too. It's just, how do you see the program evolving? Obviously, this was a shortened season for the seniors here, but you guys have left a mark on these underclassmen. And what is the future for LBC women's lacrosse?
The future, obviously, I'm always going to come in and say I'm super excited because every year we do make such huge improvements. And the 4 games, what it did do was allow our young players to at least get an idea of the speed of the game, so they'll come in with some experience next year. So I'm excited about it. I've also individually spoken to each one of these seniors and have reminded them that I would love to have them back again next year, and that grad school is a great thing to consider. So we've had these conversations already. And in that case, if I can have them come back and my team, I really feel super confident.
6 credits. It's easy. It's nothing.
That's what I'm saying. And you could be married, by the way.
I'm not going to speak to that. So that you do whatever you need to, Cheri.
Anyone else? What do you see? Like Zach was saying, you guys have been putting down a foundation here. And what's the future of Lancaster Bible College women's lacrosse look like?
I'm honestly really excited to watch the girls play, especially Coach Horst has brought in some really good talent this last year with the freshmen that came in, and I think it's going to be fun to watch the girls that I don't want to say grew up with, but the ones that we played with throughout our years at LBC mesh with those incoming freshmen from this past year. They could be a really good team, honestly, and I'm excited to watch them play in the future. So.
I also think coming off of this season ending early, that the underclassmen that I've talked to so far have already voiced, okay, well now like this is time to start getting ready. Like we're now we have even longer to prepare for next season, and just like already having that mindset I think is great, and an even greater thankfulness for the game. And hopefully that will lead into the commitment then, just that they're able to play and be there together. So
yeah, I hope, and I hope Coach Horst will allow this to start taking place too. I know one of the neat traditions that men's and women's soccer have been doing, and we did it with volleyball and baseball a little bit. They'll do like an alumni game, and I hope that as this lacrosse program continues to grow, that you guys will come back and we'll have an alumni game where you get to play with the current team, and hopefully just have the opportunity to just continue to give back and be a part of the groundwork that you guys have put. There's ladies who have put in time before you already, and you guys have really put in a great amount of work to move the program forward. And there were years where are we going to have enough ladies to play on the team? And now, you know, honestly, like Zach and I, we didn't even get to watch baseball or softball play this season. We got to see you guys play a little bit, and it was going to be exciting. And it already was exciting because we were talking in the off season already, like, okay, who is going to step up and lead? And you as seniors and some of the other players on the team, you definitely were stepping up and leading. And that's been the exciting thing here as well. 50 years from now, married, maybe have grandkids or whatever. What are you going to tell your grandkids about 2020? Is it the pandemic that's taken place, the global pandemic, or are you going to talk about, you know what, back in my day, we were playing lacrosse and we were having fun?
I think it's a mix of both. I think the pandemic is so big that, like, how can you not talk about it? But
Yep.
also, yeah, share the memories of lacrosse.
Yep. Anyone else?
Honestly, I'd say the major highlight of 2020 for me was the 2 games of lacrosse I got to play in. So looking back on this year, that will be a highlight for sure, because this whole pandemic has kind of thrown a wrench into everything for me, from wedding to school to lacrosse to who even knows what else. So it's good and bad. So we'll see. I can't even imagine having grandkids, so I'm still trying to process that statement.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's great.
Any other final thoughts? Any last things that any of you ladies would like to share?
I just want to thank.
Go ahead, Hope.
Sorry. I just want to thank Coach Horst and our other coaches for everything that they've poured into us in the program. And just like Sarah was saying, I guess Meghan and Nina played, I think, 1 or 2 years. Is that right, guys? Before college of lacrosse?
Yeah, I played a few years before.
But the rest of us hadn't even touched a stick before. So just like their commitment to us and giving us the opportunity to play collegiately, and I owe everything to Coach Horst. So just thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Hope. I don't know. I've had a lot of coaches in my life, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. Coach Horst is like the heart and mind of LBC lacrosse, and she pours everything she has into it. And I'm extremely grateful for her mentorship and just the impact that she's had on me, and I know she's had on everyone else on the lacrosse team. So we wouldn't be who we are without her today.
That's really cool. You know, we are so proud of you guys, and honestly, the time that Zach and I have had with all the different seniors the last couple days, it's just like Lancaster Bible College should be very proud of who goes out and represents us on the field, on the court, wherever. And you guys are just leaving a legacy, and you are sharing the gospel in your play and in your attitude and everything that's going on. It's just really cool to watch and see how God continues to use you. So anyway, thanks for joining us here tonight. And yeah.
Yeah, this has been great. I really appreciate everybody. I'm so proud, just like Bob said, we've had great conversations over these 4 podcasts. And again, we are watch a lot of games. We know a lot of the teams, but these relationships that you guys have with one another and coach, we don't usually get to see because we're kind of just at the games and things like that. But to hear how eloquently everyone has spoken of their time at LBC, the things they love about LBC, their coaches, things like that, it makes us just light up and so happy. And I hope people take the time to hear you guys speak, and just listening to you guys talk about not having a lot of experience and being vulnerable, like Sarah said, and trying new things, like Hope said. That's not something that, no offense, your generation does a whole lot. You don't like to be embarrassed. You don't want to try, and so for a lot of you to try something brand new and take a field in front of people that are watching is a big deal. And I hope that you guys continue to do that going forward in your lives and trying new things and just enjoying the time, because if it turns out half as good as this has turned out, it'll still be successful. So really appreciate everybody coming on. Bob, do you have anything else?
Hey, thanks for being here. Looking forward to seeing how God's going to use you beyond Lancaster Bible College as well. You are going to do some pretty big things, I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely. And we're looking forward to that. And thanks for coming on. And as we always end the podcast, we always end with Go Chargers Go.